This is the Park Shore Coin and Collectibles Hour with your host, Scott Heiligman, on Fox Sports Radio. Today we will discuss all the latest information and hottest trends on everything from coins and sterling silver to baseball cards, vintage toys, and a whole lot more. Find information about the show at www.parkshorecoin.com. That's www.parkshorecoin.com. And now, your host, Scott Heiligman.
Welcome to this week's Park Shore Coin and Collectibles Hour. I'm in the studio with our host and owner of Park Shore Coin and Collectibles, Scott Heiligman.
Hey, it's good to be back with you, Mark.
Good to be in the studio on a
And you
Saturday.
too, yeah, it's
talking
another-
collectibles.
That's right.
Yeah, we're talking about everything that's hot in the collectibles market in South Florida. We got it going on down here.
It's steaming down here.
It is. It not only is
No
it hot
pun
outside,
intended.
it's hot inside.
The market's, cooking down here for sure.
Has it been really hot?
Oh, it's been busy,
Hot
yeah.
in your new offices?
Yeah, hot new office, too. People are storming in.
Man, what a good-looking
They're
place it
trickling
is.
in. Oh, it's beautiful in there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lots of room. Got those nice windows.
Beautiful, beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. And you're
Nice
right.
private place. A lot of space for the customers to come bring their stuff,
Right.
sit down, get an evaluation, or sell it.
Or
you know?
sell it.
And if it's really a rare item, we put it through the, the auction.
Sure.
But usually we just buy it.
Just buy it.
Let's be done with it. Let's look at it.
Makes
Let's
everybody
not string
happy.
it along. But if it's something that we just can't price or we can't come to an agreement on a price for
Right,
some odd reason,
right.
usually it doesn't happen. Usually we do. Auction's always a good option.
Yes.
And
And if you want to get in on this, his office is at I-75 and Immokalee
Yep.
Road.
ParkshoreCoin.com.
Parkshorecoin.com is the website. You can see a map there if you want to. Look at right where he is. But yeah, he's centrally located. If you're coming from Fort Myers area, coming south, or you're coming from Naples, Marco Island north, boom, he's right
Yep,
in between.
Yep. Golden Gate.
Golden Gate,
Yeah.
you get customers from all
Estero,
over
even
Southwest
Immokalee.
Florida.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
They come in, they say, hey, Scott, I've got something I want to sell.
Not many people do what I do, and then they
Yeah.
find us. They see that we're trustworthy and we pay well.
Yeah.
The reviews speak for themselves.
Yeah.
Testimonials, and yeah,
Well, it's in
we develop a relationship. And
Southwest
there's-
Florida's got a lot of collectibles.
yeah, a lot of people collect. A lot of people just have things of value that they want to liquidate.
Yeah.
So they're always buying and selling. They want to buy new stuff, so they have to sell this old stuff.
And if you want to
That's
see
what a lot
what
of times there's a lot of cryptocurrency, a lot of new
Okay.
things out there.
Okay.
So people sell their precious metals to buy this, whatever it is. It's always a moving market,
Yeah.
and there's always a lot of buyers and sellers.
And if you want to see the type of things that Scott's office buys,
Mhm.
visit the website. They can see a list of items. They can see
Oh,
pictures
yeah.
of items. They can see the current price of gold and silver,
Mhm.
spot prices.
Yep.
You can see testimonials.
Mhm.
You can send a message on the website, a picture of an item you have, something you want to sell. Might be in a state, might be one piece, it might be 100 pieces.
Might be one coin. I get a lot of just one
One
coin.
coin. You
Yeah.
got this coin. And a lot of times people come in with a coin, don't they? And they say, I think I've got something really special.
Uh huh.
And
And
you
whip
are
it out
so
of their pocket.
nice.
Yep.
And sometimes you have to be the bearer of bad news, but sometimes
Part of the job.
sometimes they actually walk out of there going, "Wow, it's worth
Wow,
more than I thought."
$1,700.
Yeah.
Crazy. That's like an ounce of gold sometimes. They don't know what they had, and they walk out with that $1,700.
Speaking of ounces, gold is really smoking out there.
Well, there's
So
a lot of high
silver.
demand for it. The prices remain stagnant. It's a great time to buy, in my opinion. It's still under $2,000. We're at $1,750.
So if you want to invest in gold and silver, see Scott.
Yeah, come on in. We got plenty to sell you. Yeah,
Right.
there's a lot of physical inventory is hard to come by right now, but
Right.
we have very good outlets and resources.
Sure.
Have it within a day.
Yeah.
A couple days.
Yeah.
But
So if you want to reach out to him, you can call him at
it's good to have
239.
to get your hands on some, and we're always
Yes.
buying too.
Yeah.
So if you get us at the right time, we'll have it in stock
Okay.
because it walks into the door any given time.
Right.
But there's such a high demand for precious metals right now. When we get it in, we sell it, and when someone comes to buy some, just keep that in mind. It might take a day or two,
Okay.
3-4 days
Be
to
patient.
get it in, but your price is locked in.
Yes.
So that's what's nice. You come in at $1,750. Hey, Scott, I want 8 ounces. Okay, well then it goes to $1,810
Yeah.
a week later. I'm not going to charge you that $1,810 in 6 days when we take possession of it.
Yes.
You are locked in. You pay at the $1,750, and we do it that way.
Okay.
So it's safe. You're in good
That's a
hands,
very
and that's just
fair
how.
way to do
it's-
business.
Yeah, that's how. Well, that's how the precious metals. When inventory is tight, you're not going to be able to get it that same day. It's just like anything.
Sure.
My car's been sitting at the repair shop for 5 weeks now, waiting for a gasket on a transmission.
Wow.
And it's just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
5 weeks, going on 6.
So if you want to buy gold
Everything
or silver,
has these delays nowadays.
or you want to sell gold or silver, call him at 239-961-0816. You see a lot of different volumes. Like you said, sometimes it'll be one coin, sometimes it'll be multiple coins, collections, and you do free estimates.
Whole, estates, whole trusts.
Yeah.
Foundations.
Yeah.
All types of things.
In past shows, we've talked about how you've had to give valuations on estates. Someone's had collectibles, and they want to be fair with children or grandchildren. So, you give good estimates. You say, here's insurance companies, estates, attorneys,
Probates. Yeah.
probates. You're the
Usually
go-to
just
guy.
grandma and grandpa.
Right. You're the go-to guy. And if you want to learn more about it, visit his website at parkshorecoin.com.
Or just pop on into the new office right down on Mockley and 75.
They got to see the new office.
Come on in anytime. Yeah, we expanded into a nice new location, and we'll be happy to have you. So just pop on in Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 5, and then Saturdays 10:30 to 3.
We like to jump in soon after we make the introductions of the show with listener comments, listener questions, because a lot of times it leads into a bigger discussion. We've got an email from Brian on Marco Island, and Brian says, and this came in last week, I've got some jewelry, both gold and silver, not sure the value or the markings. Can you test it? Can I send you pictures?
Sure.
But you still need to see it, right?
Yeah, hallmarks, you can tell if it says 14 karat or 10 karat or 18 karat. It's a good start.
Right.
You
And
know.
sometimes
but
if
anytime
it's-
you have jewelry, you want to know what it's worth. You
Yeah.
need to have somebody get their hands on it.
Yeah. Now, if it doesn't have a mark on it, you can still test it.
Or
with
on a
equipment.
scale, because a lot of it's going to be predicated on weight.
Right.
So you need to show me the hallmark, which is the stamp,
Right.
along with the weight. Because if you just show me that it's 18 karat or 14 karat, I don't know if it's 1 gram or 9 grams,
Yeah.
or 10 grams or 80 grams.
Right.
So until you put it in front of a scale, there's really not much we can do.
But you've got
Even authenticate, I see plenty of items that are stamped 10 karat, 14 karat that aren't, they're not 10 or 14 karat. So there's a lot of fake stamps out there.
Right.
That brings us to the first thing you can do to prevent that is the, what's it called? The rare earth magnet test. That's the first thing I do when gold comes into the shop. Even though I've seen a ton, if it's an item I don't know, you pull the rare earth magnet, a very powerful magnet to it. And if it sticks to it, you automatically know it's not gold because gold won't stick,
Right.
So that's a great way of doing it if you're at home.
Yeah.
If your, item sticks, it's probably not worth much.
If
That's why copper's worth a little bit, it doesn't stick.
you've got the equipment for testing the carat weight, though,
Yep.
like 14,
Core
10,
purity,
14, 12,
purity.
yeah,
Yep.
purity.
Mhm.
And you can tell someone if it doesn't have a mark on it, that if it's gold, and what type of gold it is.
Right.
And that's a good thing. So
Yeah.
you deal in a lot of jewelry.
There's 2 different tests you can do to figure out what the purity, and we have them both. You can't do that, obviously, with the magnet.
Right.
That's just going to tell you if you have gold or not.
Now, is there one called an acid test?
There's an acid test. Yep.
Yeah.
That's one of them.
Right. And
Specific gravity test is another one.
right. But you can do it all, and you've got all the
And
equipment.
the magnet test. Yep.
Bring the jewelry in. You see one piece,
Bring it
you'll
in.
see 20 pieces.
Or if you need your jewelry cleaned, we do offer free jewelry
That's
cleaning.
good.
You're going out for the weekend,
So
a night on the town.
if they want to get
wanna
an
it all
estimate,
get it. Yeah, just, hey, Scott, what do you think you'd buy this for?
okay.
And always bring paperwork with it. Your diamonds, if you have GI certification, bring that in, and it saves so much time
Right.
when I can figure out prices.
Right.
I can look at charts much easier and match up whether or not your stone is the certification
Right.
than going through all the steps.
Which saves a lot of steps.
For sure.
Last month, you were talking about
Certification's important.
one of our listeners had a watch collection, and
Mhm.
you said, hey, you need to bring in the boxes, any paperwork, anything that will help you save a step or two to give a good valuation.
Yep. It's called
Yeah.
full set when it comes to Rolexes.
Yeah.
You'll see when they're being sold.
Yeah.
It says full set next to it. That just means it has all the box, paperwork,
Yeah.
certification, warranty, all that good stuff.
Now, on a Rolex, you've got the serial number is it on the twice maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once in the movement,
Yeah.
And there's one on the band, on the shell on the outside.
And you've got
exterior.
buyers for these things, and they're looking
On the case,
for,
they call it.
right, they're looking for authentic, with the bezel that's correct, not replaced, the
The
face,
movement,
movement. They want the right thing, and
The
they want the
band.
paperwork too, and the box. If you got the box, bring the box.
Yeah, and any repair work you've ever done, if you've ever had it serviced, who serviced it, who's it done by? All these kind of things are going to just get you more dollars.
Right.
So you bring one in, you just throw it down on the table, and you know nothing or have anything on it. We then just assume it has to be serviced usually, and we need to have a professional watchmaker go through it, and that costs $500 to $1,000.
Right.
So if you have documentation that you've gone through these steps, that everything's working properly, the watch has been taken apart, put back together, polished, buffed by a watchmaker or a certified Rolex, in this case, watchmaker.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do when it's time to resell it. Now we can do all that for you, but you're just saving a step.
Yeah.
'Cause it has to be done before it hits the secondary market. Period.
So you're not just you're not just dealing in gold and silver and jewelry, but your company also buys vintage toys, musical
Coins,
instruments,
yeah.
coins. I mean,
Sterling silverware sets.
yes,
Yeah.
which we're seeing a lot of
Oh yeah.
because people aren't using them.
No.
We talked about it
And
last
they're valuable too.
Yeah.
You know, they realize, well, it's worth $1,000, $2,000 sitting in it. You wouldn't leave just $1,000 cash sitting in some chest in a dining room that you never use.
Right.
Eventually, you would take that $1,000 and spend it.
Right.
That's essentially what they're doing.
Right.
They're converting that $1,000 bill in their closet or in their chest, in dinnerware, into cash that they can now use. That's what it is. It's a $1,000 to $2,000 bill. Just collecting dust, and every time, and everyone ever says when they do use it, they just complain because you can't dishwash it.
Yeah.
You have to hand clean it, hand polish it, so it turns into a 2-hour ordeal. Even when you do have family over to use Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
you know, it's like you want it to get over as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Get the family out of your hair and out of your mind. You don't want to be cleaning for 2 hours.
Ian, are you listening to this?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you had sterling silver, would you want to take care of it, polish it every month, or you just
No,
bring it into Scott
never.
and let Scott take a look at it, and he buy
No.
it from you?
And use normal silverware.
I hate to admit it, but about 10 years ago, my family went to all plasticware for Thanksgiving. So when we're done, we can all throw it in the garbage and sit down.
That's the
and
way
you,
to
and
do
you,
it.
And you never went back, did you?
No.
Always.
No, it's
Never again.
efficient.
Yeah. It's easy. And you get really nice paper plates, and
That's my
boom.
point. And
Yeah.
then if you want a nice set, you can get one at Walmart for $79.
Yeah. And
They
looks
even
nice
sell
for-
plasticware that looks like beautiful
Exactly.
gold forks and knives now.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's high quality, cheap plastic forks.
So if
Classy, cheap plastic forks.
you've got
Nothing
sterling,
but class.
keep in mind that sterling silver is 92.5% silver.
Sometimes 90, right?
Sometimes 90,
Coin,
and then
they
you
call
got
it.
German and coin
Yeah,
silver.
but
coin
we
silver too.
primarily what I see is coin and sterling.
Yeah. So if it's sterling, it's 92.5%.
95,
Right?
yep.
Okay.
But
So-
usually it comes out a little bit less than that.
Yeah.
Because
It
that
has
number is a
value.
little bit,
Yeah.
you know,
Now,
discretionary is the word.
troy ounces versus regular ounces is a difference too.
Yeah, for sure. 3 grams,
Right.
which is 10%.
Yeah.
So people have to realize if they're just putting things on the scale, like that weighs out in pounds, like
Yeah.
a typical scale, then they're extrapolating out ounces. You can do that,
Yeah.
but just know you have to do pounds to troy ounces,
Right.
which is 31.3 grams. So figure that by your pounds.
Yeah.
That's all.
And you're probably going to make a
You
mistake.
just got to reconvert your pounds, right? And then you're also going to put the knives on there too, and the knives are just nothing but weight. There's very little silver on them, and then sometimes people have that weighted silver.
Sure.
You know, I think we talked about it last week.
Yeah. With
And it's
cemented,
just on the
yeah.
exterior, but it is nice.
Yeah.
And sometimes we can resell that as it is,
Yeah.
so it does have a nice premium. So we do pay more than the silver value.
If it's not monogrammed.
Yeah, because people, right, you don't want to monogram it
Right.
because then you have to find the specific initials.
Yeah.
Which
So,
makes
and
it
then
very
if,
tough.
If you've got that,
I'm
then
good.
it's all just weight.
Yeah, Park Shore Coin's good, not that good. You know, you got to find 2 specific buyers.
you,
That takes a long time.
you got
Or
a
it
lot of
just
buyers
takes
out
time.
there.
You can sit on some for 5 years. I don't want to do that. I don't have that much space.
I can imagine, Scott, that
It's just
well,
time. You can
you got
find
buyers
it though.
You got buyers all over the world that said
But they're all not always in the market. That's my
Yeah.
point. We talked about that. Sometimes they're not in the market for 9 months
right.
for that specific item you have.
Yeah.
So when you do a 7-day auction, realize you're not getting what you would if you just kept it in a storefront for 9 months and had
Right.
500 people look at it for the price you were asking.
Right. Now
That's just kind of how it is. But that's why any retail business stays in business.
right.
Because they're able to find that margin and find that price.
You just heard Scott mention a word called the word is auction. You know, those of you that have listened to the show for the past year know that that he buys gold, silver, jewelry, you name it, and he weighs it and tests it, and they have value. One of the things he also does, and it's expanding his business, is the auction side.
That's right.
So if you're listening and you haven't listened for a couple of weeks, you're going, hey, you know what? I
Taking
don't remember you guys
auctions.
talking about that before.
Yep.
Bring it in, because that's another option that Park Shore
Absolutely.
Coin can do.
Yep.
And if you can watch the auction,
Mm-hmm.
so if somebody brings
Right
you
there
in,
on the old internet.
right, if somebody brings you in that special gold coin and they want to auction it off,
Right.
you can put it in and
Or that super expensive diamond ring
yeah,
or watch,
super expensive.
you know?
What items do you think are in the auction wise? What items sell the best?
Jewelry
Jewelry,
and coins, yeah.
top of the line.
That's just what's hot right now.
Okay,
Precious metals.
okay,
The thing I focus on.
okay.
No, another big one is heavy equipment. That's the next biggest category by
Really?
far, and vehicles.
Are you going to get into that, Scott?
Well, no, that's a whole other thing though. The
Yeah,
car
but you
vehicles.
could, yeah,
I mean, that's just kind of what it is. I could be the auctioneer
yeah.
doing the 10, 20, 30, 50, 200. I could do
100,000.
that. Sold. I could be the auctioneer 100%. But those are whole different entities. I mean, they have just like the Mannheim car auctions.
Yeah.
They have them were just dealers for, Toyota. They're just professional buyers
Yeah,
sitting at those auctions.
sure.
That's a whole different beast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool. But technically, yeah, if it's Scott, I want to, sell my old car. I own it outright.
Right.
Let's throw it in an auction. Absolutely.
Yeah. But you will
But
they
it's
can consign jewelry,
For sure. Anything really.
authentic toy or vintage toys, antique
Rare
toys,
coins.
rare coins.
Yeah.
So that's
That's
the
one that,
collectibles market.
it's a lot of times hard for us to come to a determination on price. I'll say, hey, I think I could buy it at 2,200. You're like, oh, well, I think it's worth 3,600, Scott, in an auction.
Right.
Maybe you're right in an auction, but if I wanted to find a buyer tomorrow, it's probably 2,450 if I'm offering you 22.
Right.
Right? And that's the market.
Right.
If you did want to hold it for a specific auction, maybe it would be 36. Let's find out. Let's throw it in our rare coin auction
Yeah.
and see what it goes for.
Well, people come
You
in
know?
with different needs. Come
When
in with-
and they just have different expectations of what their coin's
Sure.
worth. Because you can find on the internet different valuations for a coin.
Right.
So
but you still buy it right on the spot.
yeah, I prefer to do that.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's hard to figure out a price on some items.
Yeah.
So
The auctions
and the
are good.
customer just say, hey, I like auctions.
Yeah.
Then I know I can bring you 10 items a week and I can set them aside. I don't have to sit there and go through each item with you and, negotiate a price. I just drop off the 10 items and I leave.
Yeah.
And then I get to watch them on next Sunday when they end.
Right.
So that's pretty cool too.
The average length
know?
of one of your auctions is how long?
A week.
A week.
Yep. Timed auctions.
Okay. So if you're listening and you want to consign, say, a piece of jewelry,
Worldwide too.
yeah, he can put it in his auction. It goes worldwide. You can watch it.
Have it in there in a couple days,
Yeah.
turn around.
Yeah.
It's not like something where I'll sit on for a week or two to get it
Right.
prepared.
Right.
We clean the jewelry, take very good photos.
Yeah. Give
and-
good
and
descriptions.
great descriptions.
Mm-hmm.
That takes an hour on each item.
You spending
If-
some time
on
on
a lot
it.
of them, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, it's
Per item, yeah.
the auction
because
business is amazing.
It's good. Well, it's just like we say, it gives another option to the customer.
Yeah.
And the auctions that was the first form of selling.
Yes.
Was auctions, is my understanding. Yeah. And so it's not going anywhere. People love it. It gets them going, and
I think it's great.
and that's a big way of people buying coins and jewelry. To be honest, people buy them in auctions.
yeah,
'Cause that's where they come up in for sale.
yeah,
They come up in estates. They come up when people sell them. There's not like an online shop where you can buy this stuff. They come up in rare events and they get put in auctions. So people do keep their eyes open.
right.
They get alerts. And now on this proxy bid, which you'll be able to find through parkshorecoin.com,
Mhm.
you just have a worldwide 30 countries bid, and it's wild.
One of
you
the
know?
things you mentioned earlier in the show was vintage toys,
Yeah.
and we had a question from Teresa in Estero. This came on a text. Your website says you will buy vintage toys, and the condition is important. I have some in boxes, which is
That's
always
really
good.
good. Yeah.
Are they more valuable in boxes? Some are
Much more.
Some are Star Wars, is what she says.
That's more Ian's department, but
Yeah.
Star
You hear that,
Trek.
Ian? We've got a lady in Estero that has Star Wars toys. Are you Star Wars guy or
Star
Star
Trek,
Trek?
No,
right?
just Star Trek mostly.
Star
Yeah,
Trek.
so that's gonna be us
There's
then.
value in Star Trek
Some
too.
things are good, but a lot of them were mass produced.
Right.
So don't count your chickens yet.
Right.
We can do the research, and the more mint condition your box is in,
Right.
that's how you're gonna want it.
You know,
But
if
it's very hit or miss because you're probably talking about 1980s.
well, 77 is when
70s,
Star Wars came out. So if it's, I guess, the earlier version.
Yeah, or if you have like the movie stuff, like the posters or the signage from the movie house.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that becomes valuable. Or
Yeah.
if you can get some of the old costumes, original things.
Right.
That's what becomes
Right.
collectible.
Yeah.
The
Now,
the
Speaking
clothing,
of costumes, some of the things you get, like sports memorabilia, uniforms.
uniforms.
People
yeah.
bring in a signed uniform.
Occasionally they do, yeah.
Baseball, football. Part of the collectibles market
Football
is sports
jersey.
memorabilia.
It is.
And that falls under the sports memorabilia.
Mhm.
But you got to be careful with those signed items. And
Mhm.
we've told people that have visited the show in the past, think about what you're buying, look what you're trying to sell.
Know
May
who's
even have a
there.
COA with it, a certificate of authenticity.
Depends who it's from.
Could be wrong.
Yep.
So you
Depending who it's
tough.
from.
Depending on who it's from.
There's a few where it's never wrong.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you have those.
Make sure you've got
PSA, Beckett, JSA.
Sure. But Scott, those are expensive.
Yeah.
If you want to have a baseball,
Time consuming.
yeah, send a baseball in to have it rated, judged, authenticated. It can cost you more than the
But
product.
it depends what you're trying to do. If you're trying to resell it, you don't have an option.
Yeah.
Because I ain't buying it. No one else is unless it's authenticated.
Well,
If you're keeping it for yourself and you know it's real
sure.
and you can tell yourself it's real forever, by all means do that. You know what I
Spend the
mean? It's
money.
real to you, as somebody once said.
Spend the money on
You
it.
know, you don't need to know if it was counterfeited.
Yeah.
Why ruin your day?
Right.
If it's not going to make any difference to you, keep that story in your head.
If you
You
were
know what I
if you
mean?
were in the outfield and Willie Mays hit
Just don't think it's worth the time.
pop up and you caught it and you know it came from him, you don't have to authenticate it.
Right.
You know where it came from.
Exactly.
It's my ball.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
And then you had him sign it afterwards.
That would be
Now, if you're trying to sell it, I'm not going to believe you that you caught the ball and Willie Mays signed it.
Yeah.
You're going to have it authenticated. So it's what are you doing with it? Are you just keeping it for yourself?
Yeah.
No need. But eventually, if you're going to pass it down or you do want to, if it does a Mickey Mantle home run ball, these things are worth tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So maybe you do want to authenticate it and cash it in, because these are things that they got for free as a kid,
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, if you were
We're
lucky
talking
enough to
thousands of dollars for an item like that.
if you were lucky enough to catch a Mickey Mantle home run,
Any
ball
Hall
and
of
have him
Famer.
sign
I've
it,
never even had
wow.
a Brooks Robinson home run,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
You get the balls all the time, but nothing like a World Series authenticated.
Well,
Home run.
being in Southwest Florida, you see a lot of estates, and in a lot of the estates, you see our sports memorabilia,
Mm-hmm.
and oftentimes it come with a story, but there's no
It's the
authentication.
same stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's Dad left this
Sure.
to me, and he got it, the Mickey Mantle ball, when he was a kid, and
Joe DiMaggio.
Joe DiMaggio, Stan Musial. There's a lot of
All of
our
them.
heroes. Now, if you do have things like cards that are Hall of Famers, that's a big deal.
Cards are great. Yeah, those
Yeah.
I can authenticate very easily.
Right.
We're just talking autographs.
Right.
The cards I have, I've seen them all and know them all. And even autographs, you can really pull up. That's what the authenticators do. Not all of them have it. They look at examples.
Yeah.
Very close up.
Sure.
And they know autographs and the flow of ink and all that good stuff. But they do rely heavily on looking at authentic, actual examples.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do that yourself,
Sure.
And then they're very good at telling, well, how do you know the autographer just wasn't having a bad day? He was out getting on the train signing.
Yeah.
So there's going to be mistakes depending on who signed it, right?
Yeah.
So, or what the conditions were.
You just never know.
Just never, on those old ones, you never know.
Yeah.
On the modern ones, they just have signings, so they're all perfect.
Yeah.
you know?
You've told our listeners in the past that most baseball cards that have real value, not all, are pre-1970s.
60s and 50s and 40s, and the Ruths go back to the 30s.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that's
And the
that's-
Wagnus card, I think 1919.
Yeah. Oh
right
my
around
goodness.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. And you told us a story about one of those cards. It was a part of a card,
Mm-hmm.
which would
I even found something even weirder. There's a card more rare than his, a Honus Wagner from like a set of 9 the year previous to that even, and it's not worth as much for some reason.
Huh.
more rare. But
Is this something new that came on the
I
market?
think more cards were made out. I don't know. It was pretty weird.
Well,
But it
it's
didn't
like
sell for as much as the T card for some
Base-
odd reason.
baseball cards like coins. It's all in the mint.
It's a different card too, right? That too.
Yeah. If they made a million.
Yeah, that
of
one
them-
was a 1 of 1. That's true.
Okay. Okay.
The-
That makes a
The
difference.
T card.
Yeah.
There was only one ever graded, so that was probably why it went worth more. Yeah, who knows? I'll have to
Yeah.
look into it.
Baseball cards are, and baseball cards were
They're worth
made
a lot.
yeah, but they were also put in tobacco tins.
Oh yeah,
They were put in-
advertisement
yeah.
promos. That's what
Oh
they
my
were.
goodness. And so they've got company names on them. Some of them are actually pretty valuable.
Oh yeah, very cool too.
Very cool. Oh,
Very
you got to
cool.
love this,
Much
especially
different than what they are today.
the old Hall of Famers. Oh, my
Yo.
goodness.
Yeah.
And they
They're very
weren't-
simple. There's a very simplistic. A lot of times they just look like drawings.
They weren't perfect, and that's okay.
No,
It's
and
what-
the
it's
ink
the
was pressed on
lithography.
differently. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're going to have that. You're going to have that. Well, let's stay with the theme today. We're actually reading comments and questions from listeners. And that last one was from Teresa and had to do with vintage toys.
Oh, wonderful.
Here's one from David in North Naples. He says, you do free appraisals. I know that you can also visit a business or a home with enough time and to schedule an appointment.
Yep.
I'm handicapped and it's hard to get around. If I send you some pictures, can you give me a basic estimate
Yep.
and maybe make an appointment?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll always be happy to help. And email them or text me the pictures.
Yeah.
And we get to them quickly.
But let me give your number out just so people can,
Yep.
if you want to text him pictures of some items, 239-961-0816. That's 239-961-0816.
Or email scott@parkshorecoin.com.
That's a good way to do it.
Scott@parkshorecoin.com.
And if you're not sure about,
And I can give you a pretty
what you
good
have.
sense of what you have
Yeah.
over photos.
yeah,
I've seen enough of the things.
or visit the website too, parkshorecoin.com. It'll show you some of the things that Scott's company buys.
Sure.
It'll show you some testimonials.
Mm-hmm.
Get comfortable with him. Get
See
comfortable
what
with his
we
business.
do, yes.
That's all part of it. A lot of people, he's got a great reputation. A lot of people have been doing business with him for a long time. And he's
Yeah,
got
we
some
grew
regulars.
fast for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing. We've got people that have called in more than once in the show, written in, said, hey, this is what I've got. They'll come back to you, and they'll sell when they're ready.
Very
Sometimes
common.
they'll bring
yeah.
it to you, and they'll say, Scott,
They
take a
want to
look
meet
at
me
this.
first. They want to see what the heck is going on. They
Yeah.
see the ads.
Yeah.
'Cause it's kind of a new thing,
Yeah,
and so they want to build that relationship, and then they do come in.
yeah.
And
Well-
luckily, I'll be there for a long time. And they come in 5 years, I'll still be in that same spot.
Especially, the new
Yeah, I'll be
the
there.
new store won't be so new, but
Oh, well,
it's
we'll
still
keep
nice
painting the
looking.
walls. It'll might look new.
it looked new.
Yep.
Very Florida-ish, by the way.
Oh, by the way, yeah.
Anyway, we're going to have to take a break. Ian's
Oh, that was fast.
mentioned in my ear that, hey, we're into the show. We are halfway through. I want to let everyone know you're listening to the Park Shore Coin and Collectibles Hour, and we're in the studio with our host and owner of Park Shore Coin and Collectibles, Scott Heiligman. If you would like to call him, you can reach him at 239-961-0816 or on the website at parkshorecoin.com.